Alright, so the Cars was just what I needed. This is from their debut album, 1978. And this is just another, just awesome song. It's my favorite song by them, although they did have a lot of really good tunes. And this album was produced by Roy Thomas Baker, who produced Queen and the Stones and Journey and all kinds of people. It's a really well-produced album. And the thing about these kind of songs is once you start learning them, really learning them, learning all the parts, you just get a new appreciation for how good these bands were. Not at just the writing, but their musicianship was a real high level. And these guys are a really good band, really tight. And Elliot Easton is just an awesome guitar player. Doesn't get the recognition, or he just never seems to be talked about, but some of his solos and stuff with the Cars were awesome, including this one, right? We'll go over that in a minute, but this is a killer solo. Absolutely one of the best. Anyway, so we're in the key of E here, and there's basically two guitar parts, standard tuning. And it kind of starts out with Rick Ocasek, and it's just kind of doing this little clicky thing, right? And when I did my demo, I didn't really, it's hard to get that really sort of clicky sound. I probably had a bit too much gain on my sound, but he's just doing this, right? And the band is kind of just an E chord, right? And then double. Four singles, four doubles, right? And then we get into the song. So he's just going to be going from E to B, C sharp, G sharp. And that just repeats a whole bunch of times. 8 beats on each. Not 8 beats, but 8 hits on each chord. And this slide here, that slide there is kind of a characteristic of the song. You could play it there, but you wouldn't have that little slide, right? To me, that's important. Okay, so that's his part. He just kind of does that over and over. He doesn't do anything fancy. It's all just muted, heavily muted, right? So if we weren't muted, it'd be like this. But get our palm down on there. Get that nice tight muted sound. Okay, and eventually instead of going up to that C sharp, we go right down to the G sharp and then to the A, right? And then we get into the chorus, which is just so just E, B, A, C sharp to B, and using those voicings, right? So it's that E-shaped bar chord in the whole song. Right? And then it gets into the guitar solo, and that's a little bit different, and it's like this. Right, so it's just E, B, C sharp, G sharp, E, B, C sharp, A, okay? And that's the ending as well. Okay, so that's it for that part. Really simple, straightforward, always just keeping it really, simple. 2 notes basically, right? And just really clicky and muted, right? And then we get into the Elliot Easton part, and that comes in like this. Okay, so it's going to start out by kind of sliding up from the B chord. Right? Same thing on the B chord, on the A string obviously. then we get the 12th fret of the A string when we're on the C sharp. Then you start crescendoing here, right? And as we've been playing just 2 strings basically, now we're gonna start hitting all the strings. And then we go to this E, and that's just the suspended, right? And then we're going to slide up to this B, and what I do there is I just change my fingers, right? From 2nd and 3rd to 3rd and 4th, right? So I go, and that lets me slide up, and that's, you hit that on the off, so it's like off there. And then we've got B, E, right? A lot of guys will play that down here. And that'll work, right? But it's not as good as... And that's how he plays it in all the live videos that I watch, right? And then we just G sharp A, and then we're into the chorus. And I just play that there instead of... I'm going to play it here. Just different voicing, same notes, right? Really, just different strings, a little thinner sounding maybe, but combined they sound good to me. Okay, and that's the chorus. And behind the solo, Elliot Easton's part is going to be like this. So it's da, 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 right? On the A, right? So and then that gets back to a verse, and this verse he's just going to go just slashing, right? And then back in. And what I hear in this verse is I kind of hear that. Instead of going back to that note twice, I hear him hitting this note here. And then this again. Okay, and then the solo, and then the only other part is the ending, which is exactly like the solo. So it's... And what happens is he does that twice, and then, because the pattern on that is like on, off, on, off, off beat, right? On, off, on, off. Okay, but then towards the ending, he's just going to go. It's all off, right? So it's off, 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 right? Off, off. And then the ending is off A, off B, off C sharp minor, right? Or power chords. So, off, 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 off. So everything is off, all right? And that's how it ends. Now, in the chorus, there's a lead line. On the record, you can barely hear it. But when you watch the live videos, in the choruses, he's going like this. Okay, so what that is we're just, right? We're in this. sort of E major pentatonic shape, right? And so we're going to go, right? And then we're going to come up here, hit the B note on the 9th fret, on the D, and then bend on B7, and then just repeat it. So the chorus is like, and you could do it up here. Sometimes I think I hear that on the album. Okay, but I'm not sure. All right, so that's that line. And then we might as well go over the solo. And I'm going to show you the keyboard parts too at the end of this that I just played on guitar for my demo, right? And you can hear that if you just click on this I here, or in the description box below. Go to my website. You can just watch the demo and the lesson together on the same page, right? So the solo, it's going to start here like this. So again, we're in this that E minor or E major pentatonic shape. So we're going to go. So it's 3, right? And then the next note, what he's actually doing, and I had a really hard time doing this. He's kind of going, right? He's kind of hitting that semitone. And I just had a hard time doing that. So I went up going. But if you listen really carefully, you can sort of hear that. Not as pronounced as when you're fretting it, right? But and then we got a bend on G6, full step bend, and back down. So it's, and then bend again with a pull off. And then we end on that, right? Because we're at that point, we're at the G sharp. So he ends on the 3rd of the G sharp, right? And if you really trace the notes, they're all in the chord, right? A lot of thirds. You'll notice with these major type solos, you hear a lot of thirds because the first note, it's the 3rd of E. Third of B. 3rd of a G sharp, right? Okay, and then he's going to go. So just A or D6, G4, and then G6 to B5 and up 2 frets, right? And then he's going to go and that again is the 3rd of A, right? Okay. Really excellent solo, This guy really knows what he's doing. Okay, so okay, that last bit is, I always kind of miss that. Da, da, da. More vibrato on that note, right? Then, then we've got just a pull off, right? From So it's right. You really got to have your bends together for this solo, otherwise it's going to sound like awful. So it's right. Pick that last note. Then we've got, because on that chord again, right? G sharp, fifth, right? Fourth, third. We end there, which is again the third, right? So good. And then again, just a pull off, right? And then we got this really cool, like it's kind of a country lick, right? So we're going to bend on the 7th of the B, full step bend with our third finger, and then we're going to hit a little finger on the 9th of the E, and that's just a real sort of passing note. And then with a little finger down 2 frets on the 7th. And we want to let that ring, right? While we bend down the B string. And we pick the last note. It's such a cool lick. So let's do the whole solo so far. Okay, and then we're going to finish it off by going like this. Which is awesome. Like, that's like a real country lick, right? So we're going to, it's like these 6. I love 6. I use them all the time, and they work in every style of music. So we're going to go, this is 9th fret, G and E. And we can use our pick, like down, up, down on the G, up on the E. And then we're going to go, this is like an E chord, right? Or you could hybrid beat, you'd use your middle finger to pick the E string. And it's really important to get that rhythm. So the rhythm is did, you did, you did, you did. Did it, that. So up to speed, it'd be like. We just end it sharp. Right, that time I just used the pick, but you could hybrid pick it or whatever you want, right? And then the only other fill would be when it's going. That part there. So it's like. You could again hybrid pick that. But I did it with a pick. And I ended up on that full 3-note chord. That's the first one, and then it's. And that's just on the A, and it's 9th fret, G and E, And we're kind of sliding up and then down 2 frets, but slide up. And again, I ended on the full 3-note chord. So that whole bit would be. The only other thing that I did in my demo was I did the keyboard parts, which, I mean, who needs keyboard players, right? All they do is complain anyways. Okay, I'm kidding. Kidding. Okay, love keyboard players. So let me just change the sound so I can do this keyboard part. So what I did is I went like this. And I tried to do all this keyboard stuff on one string, the B string, which is my favorite string. I like the way it sounds, right? And I just like the feel of playing stuff all on one string sometimes. So we're just 12th fret to 9th fret, back to 12th, and then to 9th, and we're up to 17th, 16th, 14th, 12th, 13th. And then we just repeat it. But end on 14. So that's the first bit. And then in the end of the song, it goes like this. And that is the same thing, just on the B string basically, right? So just 5th fret, 4th fret of the B, 9, 7, 12, 9. Then 14, 16. Okay, so 12, 9, 14, 16. Then, what is that, 5 to 2. Right? I did this all with my 3rd finger, which is actually getting pretty sore at this point. And I put a lot of vibrato in the last notes. Okay, and then the very last one is, so it's 9, 7, 9, 12, 14, right? And that's it, okay? That's for the keyboard parts. And actually, that's it for the whole song, too. You know, killer song, just awesome. And Elliot Easton is just an amazing guitar player, really, really good. I really enjoy learning his stuff. Like, I learn a lot of stuff by learning his stuff. Very, you know, control player, but very smart player too. Really knows what's going on with music, right? Anyways, yeah, that's it for this one. I hope you get something out of it. I hope you enjoy the lesson. Hope you enjoy playing the song, and we'll talk to you next time.